Welcome back to another Pokemon SLAB Sunday, where once a month we check the prices of the hottest graded cards out right now. And we got some big movement going on. And then we're going to do a little giveaway today. All you have to do is make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, leave a like, and then I want you to comment your favorite type in Pokemon. You know, are you a big water fan, fire fan, dragon? Just let us know down below. And we're going to be giving away these 3 gold cards, since we got a little gold card hype going on right now. And then I do have to announce the winner from last Sunday's giveaway, and that is at Michael Bennett. So yeah, shoot me an email or hit me up on Instagram and I'll get those cards sent out to you. And then too, I got a little stack going from cards that have not been claimed yet from other giveaways. So I'll go back on these other Sunday videos and watch them. And you might have won a giveaway, you never know. And if you have not received a giveaway, just hit me up again and I'll send out more cards. Sometimes they get lost. So just want to make sure everybody's at least getting their cards. And then we do have to give a big thanks for our video sponsor real quick, and that is Collectr. Collectr is the #1 app when it comes to tracking your collection. No other app even compares. They have 25 different TCGs with 1.5 million products tracked. They're always adding new features, and if you want them to add anything or fix anything, please let us know down below and I will screenshot it and get it sent over to them ASAP. And they even have an awesome social component where you can actually check out your friends' collections, and it's super nice if you're going to go sell your collection. You can have everything listed right there. It just makes it so easy. So definitely check them out. I'll have all the links in the description. But all right, let's get into it. So I have the max amount of pages that I can even have open on my computer today, and we're going to be going in order. So we're going to be starting off with White Flare and Black Bolt. So I went through a couple of these on my Falling Friday the other day, and I did have to record this one day early. So if there's any crazy sales Saturday night or something, I missed it. All right, starting off with the Reshiram EX SIR PSA 10, $700. We got the White Reshiram Full Art, $1,075. Another Reshiram SIR 646, 626, 630. A couple more white full arts at 1100, 1165, 1400, and then another Reshiram at 840. Then we got the red Victini 1525, 1799, and 1400. And these are the only cards I have graded so far for White Flare. Next, we have Black Bolt. We got the red Victini 1650, 1700. Then we have the Zekrom SIR PSA 10 680. Kyurem SIR 404, the red Victini 1325. That's more the real price. Some of these other ones, you know, they get it for best offer. We got the full art black Zekrom at $1,375. Another Zekrom SIR at $710. The full art black Zekrom 1,125, 1,200, 1,225. And we did have a Seismitoad, whatever it is, right here, $3,050. This had 85 bids on it. That is just insane, in my opinion. But that is about it for White Flare and Black Bolt. Next, we have Team Rocket's Mewtwo. We had sales at $2,000 for this card. Now last sold $1,020, $1,999. And we did have a PSA 9 for $400. Next, we have the Cynthia's Garchomp. Was at $1,200 when it first came out. Now last sold $560, $575, $629. Next, we have the Team Rocket's Moltres. Now, this card is actually starting to pop off, and in my opinion, I think it deserves it. It's absolutely beautiful, but it's just going up a little bit in price. I think it was at like 140, 150. I think it did get down to like 130, but now it's at like 170-ish, and now last sold in a PSA 10, 475. We got a 9 at 170, a couple more 10s at 540, 535, and 532. So just coming up a little bit. The lowest sale in the PSA 10 so far was 470. Next, we have Ethan's Ho-Oh. Love this card. Last sold in a PSA 10 is 550. We got a 9 at 198 and 187. And I've noticing there's a couple more higher sales for Ethan's Ho-Oh also. Next, we have the Team Rocket's Nidoking. Last sold in a PSA 10, 399 and 365. This was a $700 card. So yeah, it's never smart to buy PSA 10s right away. You're pretty much guaranteed to lose money, even with the most popular cards. It's a little different buying raw cards right away, because then you can get them graded and you can have some of the first PSA 10s on the market, which, as you've seen, sell for crazy. So that's, you know, a little better. Just should never, ever buy PSA 10s right off the bat. You just always lose money. Next, we have the Misty's Psyduck. Last sold in a PSA 10, $286. And $299 before that. And a 9 is $70. Next, we have the Ethan's Typhlosion. Last sold in a PSA 10, $270. We got a 9 at $49. I love this card. Next, we have the Misty's Lapras. Last sold in a PSA 10 is $250, and we got 9s at $35. and 45. We have another PSA 10 at $221. Next, we have the Lily's Clefairy, last sold in a PSA 10, 356. It was at 400 and 375 before that. Then we got a 9 at 117 and 139. This has a pop of 2,279 in a 10 and a pop of 3,299 in a 9. Next, we have the Salamence. I love this card. Last sold in a PSA 10, 249. And then we got another one at 240 and 255. We got a 9 at 60. It's pretty cheap. Another 9 at $76. This is a pop of 1,859 in a 10 and 2,476 in a 9. Next, we have the Enzorok. This card is very affordable in a PSA 10. Last sold 163 and 147. I think it's very nice looking. Looks kind of dark and creepy. Next, we have the Articuno illustration rare. Last sold 123 in a 10, 140, 140. We got a 9 at 30. This has a pop of 4,240 in a 10, 5,965 in a 9, so not that tough to grade. Next, we have the Whale Lord. Similar pop. Last sold in a 10, 139. Then we got a PSA 9 at 40, 28, 22. But in my opinion, for Whale Lord, which I mean is an absolutely beautiful card, to be the same price as Articuno, I know Whale Lord just got hyped up a little bit. I just feel like Articuno is a hair undervalued. Next, we have the Ends Reshiram. This is not the promo, but last sold in a PSA 10, 115, 139. We got a couple 9s at 24, 25. Now this has a pop of 2,700 in a 10 and 4,235 in a 9. So it looks like this card's a little bit tougher to grade than the Articuno and the Whale Lord for some reason. Next, we have the Umbreon EX from Prismatic. Last sold in a 10, $2,799. 6 months ago, this was at $4,000. Let's check a year for fun. The high was $5,432. So if someone bought that to sit on it, they've lost over half of their money. And then in a 9, $900, $840, and $895. This is a pop of $2,550 in a 10 and $3,911 in a 9. Somewhat low for how popular Prismatic is. It's just because the pull rates are pretty tough, to be honest. Next, we have the Sylveon EX. This only has a pop of 1,564 in a 10 and 2,500 in a 9. And last sold in a 10, 815. We got a 9 at 299 and 299. And then we have another PSA 10 sale at 810. Next, we have the Leafeon EX. Last sold in a PSA 10, $510, $599, $536. Then we got a PSA 9 at 202. These all have pretty similar pops. Next, we have the Espeon EX. Last sold in a PSA 10, $620, $644, and $615. Then we got a 9 at 187, $204. Next, we have the Vaporeon EX. This has a really low pop, only 906 in a 10, and then 2,304 in a 9, which is just kind of crazy. And last sold in a 10, 480, 535, and then 735. So just all over the place. And then we got a 9 here at 153 and 176. Next, we have the Jolteon. This has kind of the same pop as the other evolutions besides Vaporeon, but last sold in a 10, 475, 449, and we got a 9 at 150. Next, we have the Glaceon. This does not have the pop on here for some reason, but last sold in a 10, 485, 500. Most of the evolutions right now are right around the same price. They're all right around $200 raw, besides, Sylveon and Umbreon. And then Flareon is the cheapest. Last sold for Flareon is in a 10, $405, $425, $475. And now we got 9s at $145, $176. We got a raw at $132. Wow. $148, $140. That is so good to see. I know a lot of people have waited to collect these. Next, we have the Roaring Moon. It has a pop of 1,056 in a 10 and 1,200 in a 9. Last sold in a 10, 500, 599, and 575. Next, we have the EVEX. This is not the promo. This has a pop of 952 in a 10 and 2,044 in a 9, so similar to the Vaporeon. And last sold in a 10 is 370, 382, 394, and then in a 9, 125. Next, we have this Roulege. This has a pop of 1,177 in a 10 and 1,244 in a 9. And last sold 309, 309, and in a 9, 115. Next, we have the Dragapult. This has a pop of 873 in a 10 and 896 in a 9. It's pretty much got a 50-50 chance. And last sold in a 10, 224, 270. Then we got a 9 at $55. Next, we have the Umbreon Master Ball. Last sold in a PSA 10 is $520, which was a couple weeks ago, so that might be a little off. And then in a 9, it says $80. But the card is pretty tough to grade. It only has 488 in a 10 and 1,540 in a 9. Next, we have the Pikachu EX from Surging Sparks. This is going up in price. Last sold in a PSA 10, $875, $840. Got down to $700 with a pop of 5,800 in a 10 and 9,000 in a 9. Next, we have the Latias EX from Surging. Last sold in a 10, $499. Got down to $389. And then in a 9, got 150 with a pop of 3,700 in a 10 and 6,000 in a 9. Next, we have the Latios Illustration Rare. Last sold in a 10, 150. Got a 9 at $27. See, that's what sucks. Even grading a really popular illustration rare like this, and you hit a 9, you're pretty much losing money because the card is worth like $25 raw. So you just lost out on, what it costs to get the card graded. So that's why it's just, you got to be really careful on what you get graded and really check it over and be thorough. Next, we have the Squirtle illustration rare from Stellar. Last sold in a 10 is 215, 206, and in a 9, 75. This has a pop of 10,783 in a 10 and 13,000 in a 9, 1,800 in a 8. So not super tough to grade, but it's going up in price a little bit. Got down to $174. Next, we have the Bulbasaur. And then let me know, do you guys like this Bulbasaur more, the 151 Bulbasaur, or the new Mega Evolution Bulbasaur? Let me know down below in the comments. And this Bulbasaur got down to $150. Now last sold $168, $175, $183. So just starting to come up in price. Similar pop as the Squirtle. Next, we have the Greninja EX. Last sold in a 10, $800, $750. Got down to $630. And then it has a pop of $7,300 in a 10 and $6,000 in a 9. Next, we have the Eevee from Twilight Masquerade with a pop of $10,000 in a 10 and $10,000 in a 9. Last sold $200, $190. We got a PSA 9 at $49. Coming up in price a little bit. It got down to about $165. Next, we have the Raging Bolt. The pop of $3,100 in a 10 and $2,900 in a 9. Last sold in a 10, $210, $265, $159. Next, we have the Mew EX from Paldean Fates. Going crazy. Last sold in a PSA 10, $1,800, $1,775, $1,850. And these raw prices are getting out of control. $475, $475, $587, $490, $550. This card has a pop of $12,377 in a 10 and $15,639 in a 9. So not super tough to grade. But yeah, this card is going wild. It's going to be over $500 for sure. Next, we have the Charizard EX from Paldean Fates. Last sold in a 10, $550, $548. And then we got a PSA 9 at $180. Going up, got down to about $400. Next, we have the Gardevoir from Paldean Fates. Got down to $183. Now last sold $270, $262. And then we got a 9 at $85. Next, we have the Groudon illustration rare. Got down to $295 in a 10. Now last sold $400. Then we got a 9 at $95. This card has a pop of $4,200 in a 10 and $5,500 in a 9. Next, we have the Charizard EX from 151 with a pop of 21,000 in a 10, 32,000 in a 9, 10,652 in an 8, and even 1,700 in a 7. So, kind of tough to grade, I guess. This got down to $670 in June. Now last sold $845, $899, and $850. So, still slowly climbing back up. Then we got a 9 at $250. Next, we have the Venusaur EX from 151 with a pop of 12,000 in a 10, 18,000 in a 9, 5,000 in an 8, and it got down to $229. Now last sold $357, $350, and we got a 9 at $65. Next, we have the Blastoise EX, similar pop to the Venusaur, got down to $243. Now last sold $370, $282, $324. Then we got a couple 9s at $67 and $66. Next, we have the Zapdos EX. Got down to $200. Now last sold $325, $278, and $300. Then we got a 9 at $55 and $62. Next, we have the Charmander illustration rare from 151. Got down to $221. Now last sold 330, 280, and then we got a 9 at 50. This has a pop of 7,000 in a 10 and 13,000 in a 9 and 3,900 in an 8. Next, we have the Pikachu illustration rare from 151, got down to 142. Now last sold 180, 175. This has a pop of 6,700 in a 10 and 10,500 in a 9. I still feel like this card is underrated. If you really look at it, the Pokemon in here is crazy. It has the most Gen 1 Pokemon in one card that I could find. It also has a Gengar, and it also has a Blastoise. I mean, a Pikachu, Blastoise, and Gengar all in the same card. I know they're a little tough to see, but still, Gengar takes up the whole corner here. It's such a nice card. Next, we have the Charizard EX from Obsidian Flames. Got down to $322 in a PSA 10, now last sold $422. And this has a pop of 10,400 in a 10 and 20,000 in a 9. And we even have 7,303 in an 8. So this card's just a little tough to grade. Next, Obsidian Flames. In a 10, only 3,848. And then in a 9, 8,445. And then in an 8, 2,596. The earlier Scarlet and Violet sets were pretty rough quality-wise. This was at 332, now last sold 215, 170. I feel like this is such an underrated card, and like I said, somewhat tough to grade. Next, we have the Magikarp. This just keeps going up and down, up and down. Got up to $2,243, and now last sold $1,900, $2,100, and $1,876. We got a 9 at $300 and $450. This has a pop of 3,284 in a 10, and 9,354 in a 9, and 3,975 in an 8. So basically the same looking pop as the Ninetales, which in my opinion, Ninetales is a more popular Pokemon. And I think even the Ninetales is more beautiful. It's just that people love this artist right now. And it's such a unique looking card. Plus it has a Gyarados in it. If you guys did not know, this Magikarp does have a Gyarados at the top. I kind of wish he was a little bit bigger, but it's kind of cool that he's just hidden up there because a lot of people, do not know about that. Every time I mention it in a video, I will always get a couple comments saying, wow, I had no idea, because he is hidden pretty well. Next, we have the T-Tar illustration rare. It's got up to $410. Now that's sold $385, $369. This has a pop of only $1,390 in a 10, $3,606 in a 9, and $1,600 in an 8. So there's more 8s than 10s. Next, we have the Drowsy from Scarlet and Violet base. This got up to $760 in a 10, back down to $315, and coming up again, now last sold $450 and $412. This has a very similar pop to the Tyranitar, only $1,300 in a 10 and $4,700 in a 9, and then $1,300 in an 8. Next, we have the most graded Pokemon card in Pokemon card history. It literally beat out the Unlimited Charizard. This has a pop of 41,574 in a 10, and then in a 9, 38,380, and then in an 8, 3,662. And it just keeps slowly going up. Last sold $875, but it looks like that is for the sealed version, which do not get your sealed promos graded because they're just going to grade the actual plastic itself. They're not going to grade the card, which they always sell for a little less. But for the actual card graded, we got $1,100, $1,200, $1,225, $1,179. Tons of sales. Wow, that is just crazy. And then for 9s, we got $447, $490. Wow, such a crazy card. Next, we have the Pokemon Center Snorlax promo. It's got down to $457. Now last sold $999, $835, $890. Then we got a 9 at $200 and $209. This has a pop of $1,372 in a 10 and $2,500 in a 9. Next, we have the Charmander Pokemon Center promo. It's got down to $1,300. Now last sold $2,500, $2,500, $2,000, and then in a 9, $187. This only has a pop of $604 in a 10 and $2,700 in a 9. There's even 1,700 8s. Next, we have the Pikachu Pokemon Center promo. This is from Paldea Evolved. It's got down to $685. Now last sold $1,050, $1,026, $1,000. And then we got a PSA 9 at $162. Another one at $75. That's kind of crazy. We got a PSA 9 at $162. That seems a little high. The other one is at $75. This has a pop of $544 in a 10 and $1,412 in a 9. Next, we have the Eevee Pokemon Center promo. They do not have the pop up here yet. Got down to $256. Now last sold 412, 425. We got a 9 at 49, 66, and 70. Next, we have the Team Rockets Wob outfit. Last sold in a PSA 10, 375, 400, 475, 443. They don't have the info on Pokedata for that card yet. Next, we have the Koraidon Pokemon Center promo. Look at the pop on this thing. 155 in a 10, only 511 in a 9, and 300 in an 8. It's a pretty scarce card, and this sale is definitely from over a week ago in a PSA 10 at $727. Next, we have the Greninja EX promo. Love this special illustration where it got down to 142. Now last sold 300, 305, and then we got a 9 at 50. Does not have the pop. Next, we have the Kingdra. This was a $90 PSA 10 card. Now last sold 202, 205, 330. We got a 9 at 50. Next, we have the Mew EX promo from the 151 UPC. This has a pop of 8,300 at a 10, 19,000 in a 9, 5,000 in an 8. Got down to $230. Now last sold 407 and 500. We got a ton of 9 sales here at 55, 60, and 50. Next, we have the Mewtwo illustration rare. Man, I wish this was a special illustration rare. I think it would look so nice with texture. This is a pop of 5,500 in a 10 and 10,000 in a 9 and 3,300 in an 8. Got down to $175. Now last sold 301. We got a PSA 9 at 30. Another 10 at 350. Next, we have the Peturant Pokemon Center exclusive promo. This is the cheapest Pokemon Center promo you guys can get. So if you guys are on a budget and you just want to get one, you don't mind Peturant, very cheap. Got down to 65, but last sold is 90, 80, 75. So still very, very affordable in a 10. Next, we have the Lugia V from Silver Tempest. I wanted to put more Sword and Shield and Sun and Moon cards in here, but there's just so many from the Scarlet and Violet era that I wanted to put on here that I ran out of space. I think I can only have like 90 pages open or something like that. But for the Lugia pop, it's 19,682 in a 10, 11,500 in a 9, and 2,100 in an 8. And this card is kind of going crazy right now. Last sold 975. Another one at 1,000, another one at 1,000. PSA 9 at 365 and 390. Next, we have the Giratina V. Got down to $1,232 in a 10. Now last sold 1954, 1,800, 1,800. And then we got a 9 at 600. And the pop is 8,100 in a 10 and 7,500 in a 9 and 2,100 in an 8. Next, we have the Charizard V from Brilliant Stars. It's got down to $408. Now last sold $800, $750. We got a PSA 9 at 190. Says a pop of 13,500 in a 10 and 9,300 in an 8 and 1,900 in an 8. This has a pop of 13,500 in a 10, 9,300 in a 9 and 1,900 in an 8. Next, we have the Gengar V Max. Love this card. Was at $1,200. Now last sold $1,725, $1,799, and $1,700. Then we got a 9 at $710. Says a pop of 11,500 in a 10, 6,900 in a 9, and 1,000 in an 8. Next, we have the Espeon V Max. Says a pop of basically 10,000 in a 10 and 4,900 in a 9. Only 608s. Well, 698 in 8s, almost 700. The last sold in a 10, 700, 650, 621. We got a 9 at 279. Next, we have the Umbreon V Max. It's got down to $2,100. Now last sold 29, 29, 29. We got a PSA 9 at 1,500. Says a pop of 17,700 in a 10, 4,800 in a 9, and 1,100 in an 8. Next, we have the Rayquaza V Max. Finally gaining some value in a 10. Last sold 1,480, 1,400, 1,594, 1,550. We got a PSA 9 at 725. This has a pop of 12,000 in a 10, 3,400 in a 9. Next, we have the Dragonite V, probably my favorite Sword and Shield alternate art, to be honest. Last sold 900, 980. We got a PSA 9 at 284 and 300. This has a pop of 8,200 in a 10 and 5,500 in a 9. Next, we have the Umbreon V alternate art. Got down to 480. Now last sold 580, 685, 650, 670. We got a 9 at 250. This has a pop of 6880 in a 10 and 5670 in a 9. And there's even 1400 8s. Next, we have the Blaziken V Max alternate art. Last sold in a 10 is 600, 850, 670, 621. Then we got a PSA 9 at $270. This has a pop of 5,382 in a 10 and 1,751 in a 9. That seems crazy or off. I don't know. Next, we have the Galarian Moltres V alternate art. So it's at 320. Now that sold 446, 380, 375. We got a 9 at 192. This card has a pop of 5,800 in a 10 and 3,000 in a 9. Next, we have the Sleepy T-Tar. Got down to 385. Now that sold 475, 650, 544. Then we got a 9 at 190, and this has a similar pop as the last card. Next, we have the Vaporeon VMAX promo. Says a pop of 3,800 in a 10, 5,500 in a 9, and 1,400 in an 8. So not super tough to grade, but it's still going up in price. Last sold 950, 943. We got a PSA 9 at 95. Another 10 before that, which is a couple days ago at 760. But I have a feeling it's going to be a $1,000 card here pretty soon. Next, we have the Charizard V-Star. This is the promo where he's fighting Mewtwo. Now, last sold in a PSA 10 is $763. Then we got a 9 at 61. This has a pop of 8,300 in a 10 and 22,000 in a 9. And then 7,700 in an 8. So when the 8 is basically the same number as the 10, you know it's pretty tough to grade. All right, now we are going to check the Team Rocket's Mewtwo, which we did already check, but we're going to compare it with all the different grading companies. And then at the very end, we're going to check out the most recent Black Label sales for Beckett. I feel like that'd be a fun way to end SLAB Sunday, is just go through some crazy Black Label prices. But here we got the Team Rocket's Mewtwo in a PSA 10, last sold 960, 1,000, 1,050. Now we have Tag 10. This is the Gem Mint. It says 1,200 best offer accepted, but we do have one on auction, 900 with 2 bids, and another one at 1,000 with 32 bids. You might be thinking, oh, well, you know, same prices as PSA, but they don't sell nearly as often. We got 3 sales for all of July, nothing for August. And if we check PSA again, we got, you know, tons of sales each day for August, July, everything. So the big difference. Next, we have CGC. So here's more their basic label 10. That sold for $750, $790, $790, but then they have a pristine 10 that sold for $1,876. That is a very big sale. That's wild. That's almost double a PSA 10. And then we got another one here at $19.99, and this one says $3,500 pop 1, but they didn't pay $3,500. All right, next we have BGS. So we have the gold BGS here. This sold for $2,100. I already looked it up. And we got a 9.5 at 545. And then for the big Black Label, last sold is $9,000 for a BGS Black Label Pristine 10 Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX. $9,000. So I always say, if you have a super, super clean card that is absolutely perfect, centering's perfect, no whitening, no scratches, nothing, you might as well give it a try. Because then too, even if you get the gold 10, that still sells for more than a PSA 10. And it's much easier to sell than even like a CGC Pristine sometimes, because the people who get CGC Pristines want so much money because there isn't very many of them out there. But yeah, you might as well give it a try, because you never know. You could hit the Black Label 10 and this thing's 9,000 compared to the PSA 10, which is worth 1,000. And we're going to check out some more Black Label sales here. So there's going to be a bunch of Japanese ones too. So we got the Pikachu Paldea Evolved Japanese card here, sold for $700. We got the 25th anniversary Japanese Umbreon Gold Star, sold for $2,125. Got the Japanese 151 Mr. Mime, sold for $510. Got the Poliwhirl, sold for $769 Japanese from 151. Charizard 25th anniversary Japanese, $2,500 best offer accepted. Wow, we got the Team Skull Pikachu. This sold for $25,000. Wow, got a nice older EX card. That's kind of crazy. From 2014 to get a Black Label, that's pretty much unheard of. The Kyogre sold for $2,900 best offer accepted. Now here is that new Pikachu and Gengar Chinese card, sold for $14,600. Here we finally got an English card, the Charizard V promo. This is from the Champions Path ETB. This sold for $1,122. We got the Japanese Latios Art Rare for $1,000. Got an English Mew EX promo from 151, $5,200 or best offer accepted. Probably like 4K or something. Got the Japanese Umbreon from Terrestrial Festival, sold for $44.50. It's kind of fun to look through these black labels sometimes just to see these crazy prices. We got the Pikachu stamp box card, sold for $5,300. Another one of the Pikachu Gengar cards for $17,000. So there's already a couple of them in a black label. Oh wow, we have a random English Rainbow card bay in a Beckett 10, sold for $270. We got one of those Ditto promo cards, sold for $2,555. Even the Gyarados from the 25th anniversary sold for $564. We got the Team Rocket's Meowth, sold for $1,100 in a black label. Japanese. Oh wow, we even got the Charizard from Shiny Treasure EX, the same one from our Paldean Fate set. This sold for $2,300 in a black label 10. But alright, that was today's Pokemon Slab Sunday. If you guys do like this content and if you guys want to be entered into that giveaway, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, please make sure you hit that like, and then comment your favorite type like I mentioned before. And then too, if you guys want to support more, you can check out my Instagram, my TikTok, or my YouTube membership. It's only 99 cents a month. All right, I want you guys to have a great day. And if you guys want to watch my last Pokemon Falling Friday, which was a super good one, click this video over here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.